Good afternoon, ladies. I am so sorry that I have been away for a while. This weekend I have actually in San Antonio administration, but I am back now and I am back with your word of the week. That word is self-perception theory, right? The theory says that when people will behave or they have a behavior that infers their attitude. In other words, if you help me clean my yard, you take on the notion that you are a helpful person, right? You see yourself as central, and so then you are internalize your responsibilities. It basically is an illusion. It's an illusionary word. And it has everything to do with you not having the ability to face where you are or what you actually did or the behavior that you may have actually caused for someone else. We see this a lot in relationships. You may be in a relationship where you're giving a lot and you're not receiving, and so rather than you deal with the reality and the fact of you being used, right? You rather internalize that thing and live with the fact that you are a helpful person, or you're a supporting person, or you are a nurturing person, and that's just how you are because that's just how women are. But I'm telling you today that self-perception theory is it's not realistic, right? It's not a realistic way to think about a situation or look at a situation. In other words, the way that you see a thing, right? Or the way that your thought pattern has everything to do with how you see and understand a situation. It also has a lot to do with the way that you speak or the things that you say concerning a situation. So self-perception theory is not helpful when we decide to internalize that thing rather than to deal with the reality of the fact of what's going on in that time and in that moment. Listen, if you're struggling with self-perception theory, I urge you and I encourage you to just make you a list of negative behaviors versus positive behaviors. For example, if you are a person that self-internalized or you consider yourself to be helpful would be that positive behavior, while being overly assistant or being overly giving or being controlling would be the negative behavior associated with that. So I would take my negative behavior, whatever I perceive to be my own perception of myself, and look for the opposite of that behavior. Another way that you can do this is you may ask trustworthy people, what do you think about me? If you look at me, if you saw me do this, what would be your reaction to that? What would you think? What would you conclude about my behavior, right? And that will kind of help you be able to balance or get an understanding of the fact that you need to deal with the reality of what's happening in that moment. Listen, I love you guys. I hate that I kept you waiting, but that's your term of the day, self-perception theory. I love you guys, and I will see you again next week. Bye.